Hello, Amara.
Hi, Ivan.
Thank you for being here today. So I just wanted to ask you some questions to learn more about you. So as a first question, could you introduce yourself for people that might not know you?
Hello, my name is Amara Barner. I'm from the States. Am I supposed to give this background? Just my name?
Yeah, no, you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
If you don't want to say anything special or if you want to be really specific, it's fine.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Amara Barner, and I am happy to be here.
So making some research about you, I found out that you really have a diverse background doing commercial and contemporary dance. And so I wanted first to ask, how do you manage now those two lives that you have?
Yeah.
And maybe today it's a bit more contemporary, but when you were doing your transition as well, how was it to transition from this to this? And also maybe why you transitioned from one to another?
Yeah. Well, I think growing up in the States, I was a competition dancer. And so the natural pathway for competition dancers, like the path that is made available, is commercial dance. I was really lucky to get these scholarships as a teenager to travel around at these commercial dance conventions. So all of my training was actually being done by these leaders in the commercial industry, which gave me a lot of connections into the commercial world. But even within my introduction to the commercial industry as a teenager, I would speak to agents for dancers, and they told me that, I was more alternative. I was not so easily sellable. And so I either needed to really lean into being like the weird girl, or I needed to really try to clean up my presentation. And I had one agent tell me that she thought I would just do better in New York and try to get into the concert dance world instead of pushing for a commercial. For me, I always just wanted to dance, and I always wanted to be project-based. I wanted to jump around and do as many different dance projects as I could. My dream was never to be in a company. So, yeah, I just always I wanted to dance, so I would take anything,
Okay.
I loved it so much. And yeah, the transition into the concert world, again, I felt like I was not enough. Or made to feel like I didn't have the proper training. I had a really difficult time with people questioning my training and not taking it seriously. But I always felt like people would take me seriously after they saw me dance. I just needed to dance, that's it. And yeah, back then, I don't think there were a lot of competition convention kids that were transitioning to concert dance. But now there's more of us that are in the concert world. So it does feel like we made some effort to change enough minds. Yeah, I guess my official introduction to the concert realm, it's just because the professional concert dance realm, it's just because I went to the Rubberband audition on a whim. I decided last minute, I bought a train ticket, and I thought that'll be a fun workshop. And yeah, I was hired. And then I talked to my mom and my friends, and they were like, you should take the job. So That's kind of how I got ushered into the concert dance world officially. But even in terms of concert dance, I think Rubberband is still the weird kid in all of it. It's concert dance, but it's not fully based just in contemporary ballet or ballet foundation. So, I think I found a spot for weird kids. Yeah.
And what if you had to give up one today?
Ooh. I think I've already mostly given up commercial dance. I think I have more consistent work in the concert world. But also nothing is consistent in a dance career. So, yeah, I guess I would say I would give up commercial though, because it's more about delivering a pre-decided package. Usually, you have to sell a product, you have to sell that artist you're dancing behind, you have to, sell clothes, whatever it is.
Yeah, you did the garage.
Movement direction for them. And it's fun, short gigs, but it's not satisfying the creative soul. It's just like a fun little dip.
Before we change topic, can you also talk about your experience on TV and like you did also a video clip for music, and so maybe for people that are doing that or trying to make that their work, can you tell us more about like how you felt and maybe you think things that you learned from it, things that you wouldn't do again, things that you would like to go back to?
I mean, I think in terms of advice, the best advice if you want to get into things like music videos, video clips, is to be posting online. Those are the types of jobs that people will contact you over social media, or a friend of a friend of a friend. You have a connection to someone. But I think, a lot of my commercial jobs in general like that are because people see my videos from Instagram. So my advice is to post, even if you don't want to find a positive relationship, something that can satisfy that documentation of your movement. Not because you're trying to sell your soul or to sell your body, whatever, but because it is actually a really beautiful thing to archive your progress, I think. So, but I mean, when I was a teenager, I worked on TV for the first time. I assisted Thais Diorio on So You Think You Can Dance. I was 14, and I learned a lot just being behind the scenes. And I've done quite a few music videos. The shoot days are long. They're so long. You're kind of waiting. You're just waiting. So my other advice, once you do get on set of these TV production style projects, is that you really pay attention to your body, because they will not talk to you for 4 or 5 hours, and then they will demand that you be ready. And so you need to have your body at some sort of baseline warmth, and always, be at that vibration of, okay, I might have to go. I might have to go. I might have to go. To avoid injury, So, having a good relationship to listening to your body and preparing it for movement on really long days is important.
And was it like you imagine it? Being on set, like on TV, or clip. Was that like your dream as a?
I think so. You think you can dance when I was a teenager was really exciting. It's such a huge set. You know, there's such big teams. It's adults that I'm somehow teaching choreography to. I'm assisting, you know, a legend in the commercial dance world. That was a life-changing, like, eye-opener for me. Like, okay, I think this could be my career. Jimmy Fallon. That was a fun day. It was really long. I think what was really nice about that day was more about getting to meet Sia. She was so nice. I love meeting just really kind people. And then that makes you feel better about supporting their art. But music videos, I kind of struggle with shoot days, like filming, because I just get really antsy. You're waiting. It is fun, you know. Yeah. You find the fun in everything. But it's a different kind of struggle than preparing for a show in the theater. Yeah. And there's so much repetition that, you can't ever take it personally, because it could be the light was just at the wrong angle, you know. There's so many elements that need to work together at once. So patience is key.
So now to talk about your entering in Rubberband. Right? Did you feel like you have to prove yourself to them, or you felt well welcomed and because that was new for like a company, but as well as it's your first, I guess, company contemporary work.
Yeah.
And so was it a lot of changes that you felt in your life? Yeah.
It was a lot of like massive change at that time. Not only because it was such a large stepping stone in my career, but also because I was 18 turning 19, you know, like you're a baby. I was a baby. But I had already been living on my own for like 3 years by then. And so I was already taking myself very seriously as a professional dancer. And I always hung out with older people my whole life. So, I think I had a lot of anxiety transitioning to the new stage, but I wasn't the only new person hired at that time. It was me and Sydney McManus. So we actually lived together as well. So we could have our anxiety in the studio together and then go home and talk about it and work through it. I think that camaraderie assisted me a lot, not just in the career transition, but also the transition into my adulthood, being able to find community within it. But proving myself, I feel like I've had to prove myself again and again and again and again and again and again. It's only like this year at 28 that I'm like, I feel like I've maybe done enough to prove myself. But even still, you know, people will, in a new job, in a new position, people will still want you to prove yourself, which is fair. But as a dancer, I feel like I don't need to be afraid anymore. But it's taken me 10 years, so yeah.
And at Rubberband, can you tell us one thing you learned at Rubberband that you still remember today, that helped you go through your life, or like as a dancer? Maybe that could be like a trick, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the technique that Victor teaches as well. Maybe that's the thing.
Yeah. I think from the Rubberband method, what felt really life-changing when I was learning it was actually spatial interaction and collapsible elbows. So this is a process of absorbing your weight into the forearm and being able to, absorb your weight in and out of the floor or a wall or a partner. And it felt life-changing. This is going to sound really silly, but I used to have a really big fear of falling in the shower. Like, this used to be really high on my list of really bad things that could happen. And it changed my life, because then I could always feel around for the wall and be like, no, I'm safe. Nice. So if I felt like my weight was uneven, I can absorb my weight into the wall. So I will say that it was very transformative, because it's really about how you're moving and interacting, not only in space, but out in the world. So it got me thinking a little bit wider, more expansive, to use vocabulary from the method. In terms of my physical engagement in space, my engagement with others, my connection to others, and building trust and coordination within the self to feel like I have a place in the world.
Last question about Rubberband. If you're okay to answer, why did you leave the company?
Interesting. Okay, so in my first week of work at Rubberband, Victor asked for a check-in meeting, and he said, how's it going? Do you think you're gonna stay at least a few years? And I promised him 5 years. In that first week of work, I said, I think I can promise you 5 years of me being completely committed to this company, your work. But after that, I think I'm going to need change.
Okay. You knew already?
Yeah. Okay. But my whole life has been like that. And it's something my mom pointed out to me when I was preteen, that I sort of tend to get lost and not bored, but understimulated in cycles of 4 or 5 years. So I knew that for me to learn everything I needed, or that I could, from the company, from Victor, from the work, that I would need years to absorb it. But then after a certain point, I'm going to be ready to take on a new adventure. So it was already pre-planned from the very beginning. And then the pandemic happened. So it just also made it easier to leave at that time.
Did you feel like you were ready to leave? Like you were not just listening to your old self?
No, I was ready. Yeah. I was, because again, I really, my dream growing up, right, was to work in many different projects, many different dance styles. I wanted to just dance and try to do as much as I could. And so I think after spending so many years dedicating yourself to only moving one way, that I mentally, physically, emotionally was very thirsty to start trying other things. And it's no offense to the work or him, it's just, I was getting, you're getting antsy being in one place for too long. So,
mini parenthèse. Okay. We're gonna play a little game. I look for your interview with your article that I've seen on Dance Magazine. And so I wanted to ask you the same question that Jennifer Hamlish asked you
Okay.
that day.
Interesting.
And first you're gonna try to answer as much as you could, like as you did at that time.
Okay.
To answer the same thing as you remember.
Okay.
And then
Scary.
a new question.
Okay.
And like you the same question but today.
Okay.
How would you answer?
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
testing my memory and then
Exactly.
okay.
To see if it changes a lot or if you remember as well.
Yeah.
What she got out of the competition convention secret. What did you say at that time?
I think that I said I learned how to stand out in a room full of hundreds of people. I don't know what else I said though.
And you also said how to be true to myself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
So would that be the same answer today?
That would be the same answer today. Yeah.
Why Rubberband? Why did you say at that time?
I think I said because I've always felt like a misfit and it's a company for misfits.
Yeah, exactly. Word for word.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I've always been a misfit as a dancer.
Okay.
And so I guess it's the same today. You would answer the same today. Why Rubberband?
I would also add that I really wanted to see what would happen if I did have a consistent schedule.
Okay.
If I danced 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday, every week, how much could I grow?
Okay.
What kind of like physical strength and agility, like what will I gain from being able to dedicate so much time and energy and effort? And yeah, there's such a large focus on training in the company as well. Like physical training, that it is a really, really great place to grow fast if you're ready to dive in. That's my add-on.
Do you feel that fits you the most, being in the company, like having this schedule? Like, no. So that was a challenge for you to being through that?
Yeah, it's such a challenge. Yeah. Yeah, I work best with inconsistent schedules. Even when I was growing up and going to school, I really struggled with the fact that it was the same time Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know, the same thing, going to the same location every single day. I love learning, but I really struggle with repetition. Yeah, so I like when my days are different. Sometimes I have a Wednesday off randomly. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I'm traveling on the weekends. Like, it's always changing, and I think this like keeps me engaged and also like actively aware in a good way. I don't get too comfortable. Yeah, I think some people work really well in like long sustained periods, and then some people are really great at just like a lot of energy at once, and they're gonna get the most out of that. And I'm in that bubble. Yeah, so we all need different things, you know, to be properly supported.
So next one, career highlight. What did you answer at that time, 2020?
Ooh, what did I say? I have no idea.
You said being part of the creation process of Hirada's work ever so slightly.
Okay.
I'll find this thing in rehearsal one day and then it will be in the show.
Oh yeah.
She says. I learned how far my ideas, my voice could go. It made me understand my own power, both in dance and in life.
Yeah, it was very impactful. Yeah.
That piece was really something new for you.
Yeah, it was. The creation of that piece demanded a lot out of everyone. And it's true, I did find my the power of my input, or the reach, you know, because I think creating or collaborating, it felt like this really momentous thing before, and I was really scared to do it, scared of failing or scared of not doing a right thing, you know, just looking stupid. But at some point, we have to get over that fear of being stupid and actually embrace, you know, embrace the idea of failing. And yeah, some of my ideas, or like bouncing off things. There was one section in that piece where, I don't know, I would just sing Roberta Flack every time we would like rehearse it. Mm-hmm. And then Victor ended up having like some sampling of that song in that section. And, it, you know, for me, it's just like a silly thing that I was doing in order to find some emotional resonance, because that song is how I felt doing that section. And so, yeah, I think being able to like place a few building blocks in there, you know, amongst the other dancers, amongst Victor, you know, he has his foundation and he wants to keep building, and then you're like, oh, what about this? And then it stays, you know. Yeah, that was really influential in my career.
And just because I'm curious, how long did it take to build the piece?
Ooh. Okay, so technically, some of the research started when I joined the company. Okay. There was one like film. He had taken one video of me in like my first or second week of work, and that he ended up like recalling that and putting it in the show, you know. So, but it was always like bits and pieces when I joined. I think it really started being dedicated. It being a dedicated thing was probably like 2 years, I guess, a year and a, yeah, probably 2. Yeah.
Oh, and also, so today, what would be your career highlight? Would be the same?
All right. No. Which is great. It's been 5 years, and now I'm like, whoa, new things. I think my career highlight would be my solo mongrel. It's the first time that I was combining my fiber art with performance in a large scale. So I had these installations, and then I was interacting with them. It was my first attempt at more immersive, abstract seating arrangement. In that first go around, and also most recently when it was set up around a building, I was just performing amongst people in the building. And these are the things that really excite me. Thinking about the stage, it's a little bit like, we're on a stage again, you know, but thinking about how dance can be installed around buildings, or how a room can be transformed into a set, you know. These are like the goals that I'm trying to work towards. And so I do feel that the accomplishment of that solo was a really large stepping stone into even having the confidence to go after my large dreams like that. So.
Nice. What she learned from Amara Barner?
Oh, wow. Emma. I think I said that I learned a dedication and hard, like sustained work ethic. And I recalled how we would stay up late dancing.
said that every day you should do something to better your craft.
Yes.
She's a workaholic. You would dance until 2 or 3 a.m. sometimes.
Yeah. I think she's calmed down a bit. But I also think, when inspiration strikes, you should listen to it, and yeah, she was really good at like pounding away at something until it worked and not running away from something because it was complicated. And just creating puzzles to solve, which was really inspiring, Yeah.
You talked about it a little bit, but what's your side gig?
Side gig. At the time, I probably answered Amarantha Witchcrafts. It was my small home decor business. I am no longer focusing on selling home decor, unfortunately. I still do, but I just don't have room in my apartment anymore. Now I'm focusing on the larger scale installations, more gallery sort of presentation, but it's still the same art form. Yeah, it's just expanded.
And to finish with this little thing, your career goals.
Ooh. Okay, I might have said that my big dream, which is having a whole house or building sort of thing full of my installations, immersive performance, interactive elements, combining everything that I love about art.
That's what you said. You said an interactive museum.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice vocab.
And so is it still your goal today?
Yeah. So that's like the land option, like on land. Sort of like a Meow Wolf or like a, I don't know if you've been to Disney, but Disney rides, sometimes it's sort of a slow moving ride, but there's things around. And I just wish that there was like performers in there, so those are, but the environments are always so like extensively decorated. It's really beautiful. So that is what I would like for a whole building. But then I also have a water option that I really want to do. So some performers in the water, some performers on platforms in the water, some audience on the platforms with you, some audience in boats, some audiences just on the periphery, like not in the water or in any fashion. Yeah. So I have both land and sea. Yeah.
That's so great. And next, I wanted to ask you about now your life of freelance dancer, and as well choreographer, other things, but more on the like dancer part. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, how do you manage all the work that you have at the same time? And like, how do you make yourself artistically available for everything? Like, how do you find yourself back and to be like really present to one rehearsal and then you have to go to the next, but like dissociate, and how do you come back to it?
It's a good question because I feel like I'm still figuring it out. I will say sometimes it depends on the day. Sometimes the day and the project that you're switching to. I do think I do a lot better at staying present throughout my day when I do something like soft chaos before. If I teach soft chaos or I even just move through the process at home, you know, that will help me switch my brain many times over throughout the day. And it's really, I think, about having a way to ground yourself. First, before work, and then again when you're in that new work setting, and then again in the transition, and then again in the new project. Yeah, I think some days I do better than others. Some days it's a real struggle. I think what is fun and what keeps me present as well is that all of the different dance projects that I do, they ask different things of me. So unless we're just like sitting and talking about something, it usually is enough that I have to move my body a different way, that I can stay engaged. Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes it is hard because your brain is still trying to figure out what just happened in your last rehearsal. But yeah, we just don't give up and keep finding the joy in it.
Do you still think about it when you get out of the studio, like in your life, like how am I going to figure that out? And like, would you like to separate it and let things in the studio, or do you bring it with you every day?
Yeah. It usually depends. I'm usually quite good at leaving everything that just happened in the studio behind. And then in the transition, literally traveling from one place to another, that's when the brain can be like, okay, that's done. Let's prepare for new information. But sometimes, yeah, you were like working for something so much, and then you wanna, your brain is not satisfied, but you have to switch it. And then those are the times I would say that I struggle more, is because I'm in that one place, but I'm like kind of bouncing back and forth. But yeah, usually I think the best case scenario is you just leave it behind. You say, yeah, I did my best, that's it, right? Yeah, that's easier when you're dancing for other people. I think when it's your own project, you can't let it go. You just can't. So then you just need to try to schedule working on your own project on days when you don't work with other people.
Yeah, so you don't mix it up and like it doesn't.
Yeah.
And a question that comes to my mind: do you struggle, like if you're doing somebody else's work, are you scared that it would influence your work, maybe, or like vice versa? Like you're working on your work, and you're in that quality of movement or I don't know research, and then it brings it to you. Maybe it might help, but do you feel that it's something you wouldn't like to do, or?
Yeah, this is a very real good question. I don't worry about someone else's movement choices impacting my own. I think that it could, it might be an obstacle. Like, no, I don't want to move that way, but I keep moving that way because I've been doing that in rehearsal with someone else. But it's just an exercise in like your awareness and your presence. I think I do get worried that sometimes I do worry, and I think it's unnecessary, but I think that we worry that like we have to reinvent the wheel, each time. And if I really get deep into that, well, then you can't even take a step because every other choreographer has scheduled a step, And so the response in that is that we have to understand what is unique about my intention, the emotional process, the tension or lack of tension in the body, right? What does that step mean for the progression of the whole piece? And then, yeah, if it is possible, how can you have some difference? You know, not a physical step. Maybe if it's more like a dance move that has been done a million times, you know, well, then how can I tweak it a bit so that it's specifically mine? But it's all good challenging exercises in awareness and intentionality, I think. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Kate told me that the other day, and she was telling me, you don't have to be like unique or like everything new, because everything has already been done.
Yeah.
And so don't try to make something like revolutionary, but something that is your own. And that's, yeah, I think that's what people are like looking for. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, staying true to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with Kate. And that is such a hard lesson to learn. I feel like I'm still learning it, you know? But I really do feel like as soon as I release the pressure on myself to always be doing something new that's never been done, then the whole choreography process actually happens a lot smoother. And then you can really start playing with, because it's not always the movement itself, right? Sometimes it's the movement of people. Sometimes it's the movement of the light, right? Yeah. When it actually comes to choreography, the movement is just one of many elements that, again, needs to start working in alignment with the whole package. So, yeah, sometimes the simple choice is the easy choice, is the best choice, because it's just gonna keep you at it. And then you can go back later if you feel smarter and more clever and fix it. But at least do the thing first. Yeah. Yeah, we get obsessed with perfection.
Oh yeah, also I wanted to ask you, how do you rest? You know, is there a way, like, do you tell, it's like, might sound silly, but do you tell yourself, oh, tonight, no screens, or maybe what's helped you in watch a movie, you know, like, how do you rest physically and mentally to be ready for the next day?
Yeah. I do love movies. I love movies so much. I'm very American. And like, I love if a TV is just on and I'm doing other things. But I always go back to like my childhood movies when I need to relax. And I think that there is like a term for it. There's a phenomenon. The way our brain relaxes when you go back to like your favorite movies from years and years ago, because you know what's going to happen, and so you actually get the like dopamine response because you're like, okay, now this is going to happen, and then it happens and there's no shock. Right? You're not like, oh my god, that happened in the story. You're like, no, it's gonna, you know exactly what's gonna happen, and it just feels satisfying that it happens. So I'm really big on like Disney, Pixar movies. That's my thing. Beauty and the Beast is a big one. Sleeping Beauty, and Wish is a new one. Tangled. Yeah, I just will go through the whole. I also really love reading. I also really love painting. Like small little squares. Yeah, just really small, you know. And I like to do like scraping technique. So you just make a few little dots on the paper, and then you use like a small like swiper. Yeah, and you just, this is really helpful for me to relax.
you were talking about it before, but I wanted to talk more about your creative, like choreographing side of you. You talked about nombreux, but I wanted to talk also about the solo that you did in 2023, the Songbird Dreams of Singing, that you won the prize of FQD Emerging Artist. But yeah, just talk about like your creative process, creating a solo.
So I have 3 different solos, and the creative process was different for all of them. The first one, the Songbird Dreams of Singing, that was very interesting. It was my first go at it, so I was going up against a lot of like internal barriers. I knew that I really wanted to make a huge nest. That's what I knew. And then I just thought it would be so amazing to dance with it. And then I had seen some research that scientists had revealed that songbirds like dream of the songs that they will sing in their sleep. Yeah, they rehearse it and they practice it so then they can get better at it the next day. And it really reminded me of like lucid dreaming. And I think that our dreams are such, and our dream states are such an untapped place of potential. We can do a lot of manifestation in our dream states if we can find control within our dream states. So that's lucid dreaming. And yeah, I just felt like there was a lot to learn from the songbirds. Yeah, so it started with the creation of the nest. It started, I had actually done like a mini performance in one of my school classes at Concordia. And then, yeah, I thought, let me see how far I could push it, like with movement. Yeah, I really struggled physically creating that because, yeah, I felt like I couldn't make any decision because every decision that I made was like a reference to someone else's impact on me, right? I'm like, I have no idea how anyone choreographs because nothing is original. And it's not true because you are the unique force. So yeah, for me, that was really hard and not satisfying. And that's actually why I'm bringing the nest back in my next piece because I feel like I need to do her justice. I will say with that first solo, I learned how I did not want to work. Okay. Like everything that I did, I was like, nope, not doing that again. So then Mongrel came around and I thought I'm just going to structure an improv. And so at the time, I was doing a lot of improvisational research. And then I would just look at the mechanical qualities of things that I liked, that I was doing. And then I would try to really study it to know what's happening. So I could repeat at least something in the same realm as that. I don't need to repeat the exact same thing because I cannot tell myself what to do. When it comes to dance, I'm physically incapable of choreographing on myself. Other people, sure, but myself, it's like, I can't. So I really work within like a framework, but I'll be very specific about it. Ceiling is this low, someone's pushing you down. You need to go around in a circle 3 times. There's going to be a musical cue. That's going to change your texture, you know? And so I also was working to order these improvisational qualities with the emotional storytelling that I needed, right? So this was really helpful for me because I could organically work through my emotional states while I organically work through movement. And so it felt a lot less performative because it actually was really happening.
Yeah.
And I could just respond. And so I think I really learned to kind of structure my freedom with Mongrel, and to trust in myself and to slow down. Like, that's completely fine to slow down and, okay, what can happen now, right? Because I think time moves differently when we're performing. So we think like, oh my God, I paused for way too long, and the audience, blinked, and you were actually moving. So I think our brain is processing things so fast when we're dancing. It's actually really great to encourage yourself to slow down and reconsider what's happening. So that was huge. In my last solo that I choreographed, there was a bit of actual choreography in there. I wanted to challenge myself. Okay, let me set a few 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And then the way that I come in and out of that choreography can be improv.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really tried to set a little bit more structure. And then the ending was just free. I just wanted to play a little bit more like dance theater about it. I wanted to enter the audience. So I knew that I needed to like climb over some things, probably, which I thought was going to be fun. But yeah, I feel like the process of making all of these solos was just building trust in myself. That was the purpose. Yeah. Sharing, of course, like ideas and humanity, but I think that's what I got the most out of it.
What's the name of the last solo you're talking about?
Ceremony for the Echoes of Chaos.
Okay.
Yeah. I like long titles. I think it's fun.
But I want, in the same podcast, you talk about the going back in time. You talk about the balance that you were trying to find in your classes between fun that you could have in like hip hop commercial, and also the discipline and technical aspect of like ballet. Yeah. And so I wanted to ask you if you found that balance yet. Yeah. And also want to talk a little bit more about your practice of soft chaos. Okay. Is it why you build soft chaos, to find that balance for yourself?
I think I have been able to find fun in everything. It's very new though. Like, I think it came with working with the second year students on a sentient spiral, because I really realized, like, why am I suffering? Right? And it's because I'm overthinking, I'm not trusting myself, I'm scared people are gonna hate my work, and at some point it's like, oh my God, let it go. I guess I just am not taking myself so seriously anymore. I'm taking what I do seriously, but I'm not taking myself seriously, because I am the one that's going to hold myself back. So if I just approach everything as, okay, I just want to have fun today. What's going to feel fun to dance? What's going to feel fun to explore? How am I going to find fun in turning out my leg? How am I going to, bring a little bit of joy and pleasure into my everyday life as a dancer and choreographer? Then I feel like that's exactly, then you're doing the right thing. Then you are in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. But as soon as it's a struggle and you're like, I don't know, I'm going to do this, I can't do this, well then, yeah, this is a really hard career to be in, right? If you don't love what you're doing, then maybe we shouldn't do it, or we should take a little break and reconsider our approach. And yeah, that was what Soft Chaos was for me in its creation. I was at a point where I was struggling so much with my relationship to my body and my mental state and my emotional well-being and my relationship to dance. And I thought, okay, maybe I should quit dance because I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling good about this. And at the time, I was doing quite a lot of research into some spiritual topics, and chakras was one of them. And I really connected with chakras. And then I realized, like, it's sort of like That's So Raven, the vision. Like, and yeah, I had the idea and I wrote it all out one night. It was like 2 a.m. Oh. And then it's so crazy because now here we are, years later, and I'm still documenting and researching and sharing, and it's adapting and continuing to grow with me. It kept me from quitting dance, and it's helped me build a more sustainable relationship, a loving relationship with my changing body, my changing mental states, my changing emotional states, right? I feel like chaos is just a messenger of change. And so, and change is going to happen, whether you want it to or not. So then, how much are you going to resist? Or are you ready to surrender, essentially? So, yeah, it's been a beautiful journey. I'm happy I'm still dancing.
And just when you talked about it a little bit, but I was just curious of how you created Soft Chaos. Okay. And how were you in yourself in the studio trying to figure out like rules of your technique? Yeah. If it's really free. Maybe not rules, but like the foundations of your technique. Yeah. And because I feel it's really different from creating a solo, because there's no really like ending point, like never. Yeah. So how do you say, okay, I think that's great, and I feel comfortable now to share it with other people that would like to. And yeah.
Yeah. What's so interesting is that after I stayed up 2 a.m. and wrote out the whole thing, like literally I messaged Victor that night, Victor Chiara, and I asked him if I could teach the company class tomorrow. And he said, yeah, sure. And I taught it the next day because I feel like at some point you just have to test it out on people. And I thought that if this works, it could really help a lot of dancers. But I'm not going to know it until we can get like a collective energy all diving into it and researching it. It's changed a lot, the class. I used to be a little bit more like emotionally based. And I think you've taken my class enough. Sometimes I am fully about like, okay, let's commit to analyzing our spiritual and emotional self, and then the movement will follow. And then sometimes I need to just go like full movement. And then I think our emotions get brought up in that process. So, yeah, interestingly enough, I was just brave and curious to share it right away. And then you receive feedback and you just keep finessing it. I always just try to like take note of what I thought worked, what people comment on, resonated with them, and keep adjusting for the group too. Some groups of people are not going to be ready to approach it in the same way as others. So, yeah, I keep it adaptable, and that's kind of the journey of it, more so than anything. But yeah, I think if you're in terms of like building it, just takes time in the research and also research with others. Because at some point your brain is going to say, okay, there's all of these possibilities, but yeah, you need someone else to say, okay, these two possibilities make sense. And then you can say, okay, then we can take that. And then maybe later on you can say, and then from there we could also go, you know? So a little bravery will go a long way.
So we talked about a little bit your like fiber art that you're still doing.
Yeah.
And so how does that complement your main art, which is dance? Yeah, start with that.
Well, I started really diving into fiber art because I think I was struggling with the temporality of dance. I was struggling that, you know, we work so hard to create a fleeting moment, and that is experienced only if someone is in the room watching you, or if there is a camera on you. And even so, it's not the same as, you know, sitting in front of someone dancing. So I gravitated towards fiber art. I mean, I was a big crafting kid. My mom will say that I was crafting long before I was ever dancing. So for me, it was like going back to an old passion. But I gravitated towards fiber art because there's a prominence of natural fibers. I love that. But the cords, the fabrics, they want to move. They do move. They dance, respectively, in their own ways. And so I think you don't really get far forcing it to move. You have to learn to move with it. And when I work on my fiber art, it actually brings me into movement trances, which then goes into meditative states, and then, you know, all sorts of like crazy visions. My imagination like gets fully ignited through that repetition and the movement. And yeah, and I just love that what I make is more permanent than dance. If I hang it up, it's going to stay as long as the natural fibers are in a well-suitable room. Eventually, they could catch fire. They could, you know, disintegrate. They would happily go back to the earth when it's their time. But other than that, you know, it's this like living symbolic memory rather than that fleeting moment of dance. So I really loved having the two find a meeting spot together. And I think it really helped, my fiber art helped to influence the way I think about movement in space and like the curation of scenography or things in a room, you know, like interior decorating, which impacted my idea of bodies being curated in space together. So yeah, I just love that one can influence the other, and then the other one can influence the other, and it's fun. Did I answer?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And so I'm curious also, is there other mediums you would like to try?
Oh, I would love to try a lot of mediums. My goal for retirement, like my vision of myself in retirement, is to have a lavender like farm, like a lavender field, and to be playing the harp. And so I need to learn like, I guess, farming, gardening. I need to learn how to play the harp. Yeah, I would love to get into like herbology, a bit more natural healing. Mm-hmm. I would love to. I would also love to learn design, but that's a lot. Mm-hmm. I would also really love to learn lighting. Oh, yeah. I think it's really fascinating for not just like live performances, but also like in TV and movie production. Yeah, that's probably enough goals. That's true. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask also if you had other sources of inspiration in your daily life. You talked a little bit about Disney's movie. Yeah. But like, or things that you do as well that bring you inspiration, or things that you watch, or things that you see.
Yeah. I'm really big on magic. I'm really big on noticing the magic in our everyday life. I was very much like the kid who would walk extremely slow so I could see everything. It's because I'm really like tuning into like this great big world, and it is magical. Mm-hmm. It's like so incredible. The science behind everything, literally just life itself, is magic. Like, I don't think we can argue that. And even I think a lot of things that we do regard as magic, I think it's just science that hasn't been properly researched and researched yet. So yeah, I think like my main goal in art is just to keep magic alive. And in my everyday life, you know, I like to leave space for life to happen. That's something my mom would say about being late, you know. You leave early enough so that there's room for life to happen. And yeah, I think when you open yourself up like to magic being around you, then it will come. So there's that, and that's like a whimsical side. That's like the fairy side. Then there's also like the darker side, and I've seen ghosts since I was a kid. I think I've like struggled with more harmful entities, and also being like a Disney kid, and being more like pure hearted and kind. Then at some point, when you're a young adult, people start taking advantage of you and not being nice. You're like, wow. I know that there's like harsh things in the world. But yeah, I think I have this like obsession with being able to like accept enough of your shadow self, of what you are potentially capable of, so that you can unleash the potential on the positive side, right? I think when we're like scared of accepting who we could be, bad and good, then we just don't end up living life at all. So I really want to live like a full life, and yeah, I need to feel like there's something really rich to be discovered. So I'm just always looking for that, and my spirituality comes in a lot in my work. It's driving a lot of it. So yeah.
Great. almost last question.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you if you had any recommendation for people, maybe things that you watched recently, things that you read, things that you listened to, even. Anything that you would like to share.
Okay. In terms of books that I would recommend, The Creative Act. I think it's. I'm really bad with names. The Creative Act. The book is a circle and a dot in the middle. I think that's really inspiring. I read a lot of like high fantasy books. So I recommend people just get into fantasy books in general. Because I think like the magic systems are awesome. I think people whose brains are able to come up with like universes that function completely opposite of ours is so fascinating. Movies, I love Wish. I also just watched Willow for the first time. That's good. It's an old movie.
Okay.
What else? With David Bowie, that one's good. Labyrinth. Frozen 2 has some pretty interesting magic systems in there. Wow, why can't I not think of anything? Stranger Things, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. If you play games, if you have a DS, I recommend Sims 2. There's some aliens, there's robot invasions, and Harvest Moon. It's a lot of farming, but that'll calm you down. That'll calm your nervous system. I don't know.
It's great. No,
it's all great. Dorky. I think like embrace your dork.
It's so great. That's exactly why I'm doing this type of things, to like know better someone and things that they like to do and stuff. That's so great, and I'm sure so many people would like to like, oh, I never seen that movie, or I never tried that games, but they do play games, and like I don't know. Yeah. You know, there's like so many people. You don't realize how much people I think they're like you. Mm-hmm. You feel like so. Yeah.
No, I have one more movie though. This one's big. Sleeping Beauty. It's a cinematic masterpiece. This one I will fight anyone over. They were doing hand-drawn and painting. And so, the like graphic design, the color palettes, the aesthetics, like, the artist really knocked it. It's a really like artistic masterpiece. Everyone go watch Sleeping Beauty. That is my one.
Okay,
push.
Perfect.
You have to watch it. Yeah.
So to finish off, what can we wish you for the future, Amara? Is there anything coming up in your life, or?
Well, I have my first evening length production. So I'm in the process of making that. So you can wish me luck for programming that, a theater wants to program us. And I'm also acquiring an art studio as well. So I'm very excited to have a place to store all of my installations and to make more. So wish me luck in that moving process. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much, Amara.
Thanks.